Welcome to the audio presentation, Slow Down to Release Stress and Transform Your Life. Hi, I'm David Essel. The following CD program was created to help us all open our minds to the potential of living a less stressed and more energized life. If you're in a position to grab a pen and paper or your computer, please do so now. I believe that when we are truly ready to transform our lives, we need to do so by creating a written action plan of how we are going to do this. If you'd like more information on the power of slowing down, please check out our website at www.talkdavid.com and our book through Hay House Publishing entitled Slow Down, the Fastest Way to Get Everything You Want. Now, let's go live to the presentation, Slow Down to Release Stress and Transform Your Life.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm Seattle, Washington welcome to the boy in the box, Mr. David Essel! Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow. I love it. I love it. Gosh. I am paying him enough. I am definitely paying him enough. I was standing up here just a second ago and reflecting for a moment. And because I do like to go really deep, I'm getting on the verge of emotion just because of the energy in this room and what came through the door. And it's really special, and I feel that so deeply, and you need to know how much I appreciate your time here tonight. Thousands of things on a beautiful night like this you could have been doing. And the fact you came here, I really appreciate that, so thank you. Thank you very much. And the Kirkland Performance Center is just beautiful. I don't know how we're going to top this next year, We keep thinking about coming back and doing new and unique things. I don't know. We may do a return visit for the first time because this is really gorgeous. Nature's Way and Vitaspelt, two companies that are involved with us right now. There's free samples out back. I want to thank them for sponsorship. Of course, Kirkland Performance Center, Steve Larian, with everything that he's done for us. The Buzz. What a great name. The Buzz. So what we're going to talk about tonight is stress. And if you think that you're dealing with stress right now, just think what it would be like to be a member of the White House. The minute we think we're having a rough day because of traffic or something like that, you put yourself in any of their shoes, anyone there, and we go, hey, this is actually all right. This isn't too bad. Perception is so much of stress, isn't it? We get mired in our muck because we forget about that a lot, I think. And tonight, as Lee had mentioned to you, we're going to talk about universal truths. And I will give you some hands-on stuff that you can take to become less stressed. But I really think the wisdom of the ages is what we can really learn from. I think there are just some beautiful thoughts and ideas that we can start to apply, if we start to apply to our lives, that we can basically become stress-free or pretty darn close to it. Instead of getting wrapped up in the fact that, okay, what was it the 7 steps to this, or the 9 steps to this, or whatever it might be. And I'm a big fan of steps, and I'll give you some steps tonight, just for those people who are addicted to steps. I don't want you to walk away here saying, gosh, it was just so philosophical, and where were my steps? I'll give you steps as well, but I also want you to realize that I think a lot of times getting in touch with some of these truths, some of them that are so simple and really profound, obviously, if they are such a great truth, to go back to the beginning of man can help us to start to take out some of these covers that we keep wearing. I saw Carlos Santana, and he gave a great analogy to all the turmoil going on with the atmosphere. With the hurricanes and the earthquakes and all these different things. And he said, Mother Earth is simply taking off an old coat. And we can help her put on a new one by taking care of Mother Earth itself. all of this turmoil that's going on is just like a sign to us going, hey, we got to get together. We got to take care of the environment. We've got to start making smarter choices. And I think that it's the same thing with what we're going through here, you and I, as we deal with stress. When we reach certain levels, if you really want to know if you're growing, you're probably going through a lot of stress. We look at stress as being really bad, but that's when we really learn, if we choose to learn. And every time we hit a plateau, we go through stress, and then we hit this place here where nothing really bad's happened. It's like we've taken a coating off, and we're revealing a new part of ourselves that has to get used to the world, and then all of a sudden when it gets used to the world, we get stressed again, and then we grow, and we take this jacket off, and it's kind of cool to think of it like that. Instead of that stress is bad, it is just something that we have to go through if you want to get to the next level, that next place, wherever it might be. And this is what I want to share with you, things that we can look at, that we can grasp today, and even if it's a universal truth, even if it's philosophically based, it can still be something that you can apply right now while you're sitting in your seat. And that's where I want us to be. That's where I want us to be today. And I'm going to start, I handed out some notes, and I want to start with our first one. And actually, Jessica, is this on? Here we go. Okay, this is a thought. This is a thought. Let's see what it says.
Stress-free. Get big. What we feel uncomfortable with may be just what we need. Now, you got to get big. And what I want you to do, what does that mean? What I want you to do in here today is get really big. If I'm talking about something that you go, there's no way in the world that could benefit me, I want you to get really big and go, okay, stop. I've got to get big here. I've got to get big here. As a matter of fact, raise your right hand for me. Okay, and remember that this is on tape. David, I promise.
David, I promise.
To do whatever you ask of me.
To do whatever you ask of
me. Come on. Because I know deep in my heart.
Because I know deep in my heart.
That it is for my highest good.
That it is for my highest good.
Okay. So, if I ask you to get big, and I mean this because I'm going to give you examples of how I stayed little for years and years and years and years. And then when I decided to get big, some really beautiful changes happened. So, what we think we do not need is probably just what we need. Now, this is something that your mom probably told you, you know? I'm sure you can go back to your mom and dad and think about things that you knew you were never going to use in your life. And then 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years later, you go, wow, she was right. Won't admit it to her. But she was right. And that's what I want to ask you to do when we're talking about getting big. If something feels really uncomfortable, instead of saying, no, that's not for me, go, stop. I've got to get big here. I've got to get really big and open myself up to this potential, because just think about this. If you decide to get big with something you feel uncomfortable with, you're not going to have to wait 10 or 15 or 20 years to learn it and to grow. Doesn't that make sense? Okay, 1974, I was introduced to transcendental meditation, and there was no way while I was alive that I was ever going to meditate, because I knew it wasn't for me. In 1984, and probably every year in between that 10-year period there, I was introduced again to some form of meditation, and every year I knew it wasn't for me. I knew it. There was nothing I could learn from these people probably sitting around with their turbans on. You know, do you see how small I was? I was not allowing myself to get big to the possibility that this is something I could benefit from. Then in 1984, I was introduced to me again. I said no. In 1986, it was like the lid came off when I finally allowed myself to realize that there was something that I didn't know that I could benefit from, that I felt uncomfortable with. And all of a sudden, literally, overnight, within 6 months or so, when I started to do this on a regular basis, I said, wow, I don't have to pretend that I can run away from stress or outlift stress or pretend it's not there. You know, I can actually go inside instead of always worrying about going outside, and some great things could happen. So I took all those years, 12 years of saying there's no way, 12 years of loss of learning because I stayed small. So if we get big, though, we can bypass that 10 or 12 years and say, hey, I can learn from something like this right now. Acupuncture. Here's a great story. You probably heard this on the air. And if you don't remember the story that I talked about on the air, that means you missed an hour of the show, and I want to talk to you afterwards. Because remember that thing you signed when you came in? You said, I promise over the last 6 months I have not missed an hour. Okay, do you remember this? Dr. Isidore Rosenfeld?
He wrote a book on alternative medicine, a great story about getting big. A great story about what made him feel uncomfortable was exactly what he needed to learn. He was in China. What happened next? Just checking. Okay, what happened next was he walked into an operating room and there was a woman there with her chest split open heart surgery, and he went around looking for the anesthesia IV, and there was none. There was no IV. Nothing. Nothing at all dripping into her to kill the pain. And you know what? I don't even want to go into this, but you know what happens. They saw open the chest. I would probably opt for anesthesia, regardless of what I'm going to tell you. The rest of this story, I don't know. But anyway, okay, here's Dr. Rosenfeld in China looking at this saying there is no way this woman is having this done without any type of anesthesia. Turns to the chief surgeon, and he says, yeah, you see the needles? There were I don't know how many needles throughout her body. It was acupuncture that was giving her the anesthesia necessary to do this incredible operation. Well, Dr. Rosenfeld, and he would admit this to this day, we've had him on the air twice now, he would admit this to this day, he was extremely, well, he probably wouldn't use the word small. I'm going to use the word small. Okay, he was extremely small. He wasn't big, like we're asking you to be here today, but he was very small, and he doubted it, and he said to the chief surgeon, he said, why, have you ever done double-blind, placebo-controlled studies to prove that I need to get big and start being open-minded to the fact that acupuncture is this effective? And the surgeon started laughing. And he said, you Americans are so funny. You waste all of your money with these stupid studies when we look at that woman on the table and we know it works. And this is it's about getting big. It's about saying that even though I feel uncomfortable and I know this isn't for me, I'm going to go there. Counseling for men and or women. Ooh, there's a couple, huh? I know that's not for me, but I'm going to ask you to get big. Because if you're so positive it isn't for you, it probably what? Probably is right on track. It's probably just the thing. And think of it this way. If you get big like this, you're going to be able to bypass a lot of pain that you're dragging yourself through for the next 5 or 10 years until you finally get big and go, okay, I've got to try this. At least give it a shot. At least be open to the potential. It doesn't mean that everything that you do and try is going to work. But if you get big regularly, you're going to hit jackpots. You're going to hit jackpots. Homeopathy. Here's another one. I remember when this was first introduced. Now, this actually was pretty funny to me. All right, now let me get this straight. When a friend of mine tried to get me involved with homeopathy, again, 20-something years ago. All right, let me get this straight. You're going to tell me we're going to take a substance that would make me really sick if I ingested it. And you're going to just take the energy of one of the molecules of this. You're going to break this substance down and just take a molecule of it. You're going to put it inside a sugar pill, just the energy of this substance. I'm going to put it underneath my tongue, like arnica. Arnica will kill you. So you're going to tell me we're going to take the energy of arnica, put it in a sugar pill underneath my tongue, and it's going to relieve my pain instead of killing me. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sign me up. So we stay small, and we say, homeopathy could never work for me. And then we go buy and buy and buy, and we're pained, and we're going through stuff, and nothing's working when homeopathy could have worked for us. Herbal supplements, the same thing. I'll talk a little bit later about some of these, but I remember a breakthrough for me in herbal supplementation was 12 to 14 years ago when I found this supplement, and it happened to be put out by Nature's Way, called Silent Night, which is a relaxant with valerian and skullcap, and just incredible. And at that time, I was taking tryptophan, which I still believe is a safe product. I think we just got a real bad shipment in, as most people in the Michael Murray and everyone else, and Dr. Michael Murray is here. He's in Seattle. Great guy. And people do believe it was a shipment problem. They don't believe there's anything really wrong with tryptophan. But anyway, so when they took tryptophan off, I had to look for something else to help me calm down. Not that I'm a high energy person, but I'm still working on that. And then I found this Silent Night, and a friend of mine said, and I said, oh, come on, a bunch of herbs stuffed in a capsule, and their name is Skullcap. So I stayed small until I wasn't sleeping regularly, then I got big real fast, and the stuff is incredible. So number one, what we've got to do is get big, and again, When you are uncomfortable with a concept, a thought, a theory, just stop yourself and say, no, it's time to get big. Okay? Let's rehearse one more time. It's time to get big. Go.
Time to get big.
Very simple, and you're already less stressed. Next. Who's the next one? Hold on.
Here's a mic.
Oh, thanks, man. Could you walk that over for me, Lee?
I sure can.
Appreciate it, bro.
We've got this thing under control here. I found my calling.
All right. Here you go.
What is distressful now can easily become a non-event or even unstressful in the future.
Oh, this is huge. What you and I think is stressing us out right now, more than likely in the future will become a non-event or will even be a eustressful or an unstressful occurrence. I mean, it could even be eustressful. It could get to the point where that you go, wow, I really dig this, and isn't that funny? And again, this is tying into getting big. So we look at something that really stresses us out, and we get big, and then we say, isn't this amazing? And this used to really bug me, but because I got big, in a short period of time, it's a non-event, or I even really like this. What could be an example? He was not planted. I promise you. Were you, sir? All right, he was, but no, he really wasn't. He wasn't planted. Public speaking, okay. As a matter of fact, boy, that was right on cue. I'm losing my thing here. It really was. That's ESP by chance? Hold on, I'm losing my thing. My battery pack. Guys are too quick. What? I'm sure it was a nicety. Okay, what were we talking about? Public speaking. Here we go. The first time I did public speaking, I can remember this like it was yesterday, as anyone who's ever done public speaking can, because your first one, you were horrendous. Or pretty darn close to it. It was in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was asked to speak to a health conference, and so the night before, I did not sleep a wink and was up all night, and there was a mentor of mine back there, Dr. Richard Gerson, who in the morning met me for coffee, the last thing I needed. I was so jazzed as it was. That's just what I needed, to have more coffee in me. Went up on stage, and I was pretty excited about the topic. I mean, I was very excited about the topic, which is the number one rule in public speaking. If you're not really damn excited about the topic, don't even go near it. So I was there and excited, but overwhelmed by the fact that I was going to stand in front of a group of people and actually for 45 minutes to an hour spout Davidisms. So I go up on stage, and the first thing I do is, after being introduced, is I said, and from the very first until the very last there was 170 that he kept track of in his little thing. That was my first experience. Now, that was a very stressful experience, you can imagine. Going up there and you have someone watching you and you know that your mentor is in the audience. Not a cool thing to have happen on your first presentation. And then you see him with this, you don't know what he's doing, but you know it isn't good. Especially when his hand didn't stop the whole time. So at the end of it, he came up and he said, you know, you get an A for enthusiasm. But boy, do we have work to do. Boy, do we have work to do. Now, that was a stressful event. However, what happens is, over time, it becomes either a non-event or a eustressful one. And with most people who like to do public speaking, you go from a stressful event to eustressful. So after 3 or 4 or 6 or 300 presentations, you start to look at it not as anxiety-producing or nervousness. You look at it as energy-producing. It goes from a stressful event to eustressful. It goes from something that you go, oh, I don't know if I can do another one of these things, to get me on the stage. When you wouldn't believe what it was like to wait today, to come in and meet you. And to talk. I mean, that was the worst part. And I don't believe in nervousness. I don't believe in anxiety. I believe in let's just start rocking. Come on, there's just too much to talk about. It's noon. Okay, Lee, when are we going? What's 7:30, 7.5 hours? I have to just not talk like that? So it goes from stressful to eustressful. What else? What about the first time you ask someone for a date? Okay. Now look, I'm not... Oh. I know. It can be a pretty scary sight. So you ask someone, you're all nervous and everything else, and then you go out, and let's say you had an okay time, or an awesome time. So the next time you're going to ask them out, it is a little easier, it starts turning out to be a non-event. And then hopefully it turns out to be really stressful. Can't wait to call them up and ask them out, you know? And then, of course, it goes full cycle back to, oh, man. No. No, of course. And then it just stays you stressful because you found the perfect person and you don't have to go through this anymore. Not that I would know about this topic, but so I hear. But we take events that are stressful. Now, if you get big, that means that when you ask someone out, you're going to ask someone for a date, and you go, wait a minute, I'm going to get really big here. Yeah, I'm going to be a little nervous. Feel your feelings, not a problem. But don't go crazy with it, because it's either not going to work, the relationship isn't going to work, and you're not going to have to worry about asking them out again. Non-event, right? Or it's going to work, and you're going to get excited about seeing them. You stressful. So here we are. Are you following me? You take an event that you feel nervous about, and you get big quick, realizing that it's going to turn into either a non-event or probably you stressful. And we can do this with probably 90% of the things that we freak out about, that we get really nervous about. There are so many things in life that we really drag ourselves through the coals over when it's either going to turn out to be a non-event or you stressful. So if we can just expand our mind a little bit up front. Riding a bike. The first time you get on a bike, you're petrified. You've got performance anxiety. Mom and dad or someone's watching you, and you, oh man, I should be able to do this, and you're wobbling. A little while later, it's non-event, jump on my bike, and then later it could turn out to be something really hip. Very cool. What else goes from being stressful that we allow it to be way too encompassing in our life that turns out to be a non-event or you stressful? What else? Sex. Thank you, man. Exactly. Let's break this down. The first time you get into bed with someone brand new, what happens? You go, do I have to take you step by step through this? Come on, work with me. What happens? From a woman's perspective. Where's the mic?
Well, fess up.
Okay, wait. Okay, I'll tell you what, we'll pass it down. I'll tell you what, we'll keep passing it. Okay, we'll go 8 people, so pass it down. Whoever's the 8th person has to start.
Let's give it to this row, not my girlfriend's row.
Yeah, right. Okay, actually, let's start with number 1. No, that's not fair. But what happens? You get in bed with someone, right? Sorry. And okay, play the part of a woman. All right, so we're in bed together. You ready? And Hefner thinks he's got something. No, but what happens is you have performance anxiety. You go, oh my gosh, are they going to like, Where do you want to start? My shoulders. Are they going to like my shoulders? And, they've seen my hands, but they haven't seen my elbows. So we go through this whole thing where in the beginning there's a lot of performance anxiety. And are they going to like the way the first time you kiss someone? Let's even back up. Hey, and speaking of, the ladies are going, let's talk about kissing, man. You're jumping right into the shoulders. And however, do you remember on the show? Say yes, because I know. Thank you. I knew you would. I don't even have to go any further. Do you remember on the show when I said that there was a survey that said that women didn't feel that kissing was necessary to make love? Do you remember that? Now I know there are some women in this audience that called me up and said, "That's right. We just want to hug." Or we just want whatever, But remember, I was so surprised. The first 4 women that called the show said, it is not important to kiss before you make love. That shocked me. But the first time you kiss someone, you're wondering, oh my gosh, do they know how to kiss? Yes. And are they going to like the way I kiss? And what if we smack our teeth together? And, what if? And I remember a while ago, this was a number of years ago, I was dating a woman and I had braces. Okay, now that's a challenge. Although with the right technique, it's not bad at all, really. I had them, so I guess it wasn't bad, right? But then she got them. Yeah, and then that was really unique. Boy, that was really different. But we learn how to do it. But the first time you kiss someone, it's like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden it turns out to be a non-event. And then hopefully it moves quickly into you stressful. I'm really digging this. This is really good. And, all right. Wait a second. Enough. Okay, so what else? What else that starts out, and again, if we get big, we don't have to go through the months and years of being stressed. What else starts out stressful, and the stuff we're talking about is like 90% of life, Getting a new job, walking in and hoping people accept me. That's stressful. And if we get big and go, wait a minute, they're either going to not accept me or they are. And if I do my thing, and if I be the great person that I am, then there's a darn good chance that they're going to like me and we're going to get along fine. And why spend a lot of time worrying about something that isn't here yet? And this is all about dealing with stress. This is huge. This is really big stuff. If you're in sales, cold calls, the first time you do it, it's really scary. And then after you do it, it's not a non-event. And then all of a sudden you can make a game out of it. And so life is like this. And what I want you to do is think about the things that you're dealing with right now and say, where is this going? See, we're being really proactive here. We're not allowing stress to run our life anymore. We're looking at how can I be more stress-free, which means living really consciously. You're not a victim. You're on top of it. And if you walk out of here with anything, this is what I want you to walk out of here with, is that you have the opportunity to control what's going on in your life. Regardless of the money you have or don't have, the relationship you have or don't have, the job you have, whatever we're talking about here, you really have a heck of a lot more control than you would ever believe. And it's a matter of getting big and being proactive and looking ahead saying, hey, I've been through this before. I rode the bike. I kissed someone for the first time. I possibly made love to someone for the first time. I remember what all that was like, and I don't have to go there and spend all that anxiety time anymore. We're going to cut back on a lot of our stress, and you're going to be a heck of a lot happier just by going through with some of these things. Do you agree? And this isn't complicated stuff. We're not at the steps yet, so hang in there. But it isn't complicated. I think that's enough examples. Okay, who is next? Okay, the mic. Yeah, we'll just pass the mic down.
Stress-free equals in control, out of control.
Oh boy, this is okay. Here's 2 steps. Okay. So we're getting closer. If you're dealing with stress on a regular basis, the number one thing you need to do, you know how I love you to write, to journal. I love you to write. I love you to journal. I love you to get clear on what it is you want in life. Because without a piece of paper and a pen, or a computer, whatever you're used to using, everything just sort of stays muddled. So if you're stressed about a lot of different things in life, you've got to write down on a piece of paper what it is that you're stressed about, and then afterwards you just write the simple words, in control or out of control. Whatever is in my control, you're going to focus on. Whatever is out of your control, you got to try to let go of. And until you put it on paper, though, it stays stuck here and here. And you can drive yourself nuts worrying about the traffic and worry about the response of your lover. You have no control over your lover's response. You can influence them, your children. You can't control these things in life, but we spend a lot of time worrying about it. So if you only control what you can and worry about that and focus your energies there, you've probably cut out about 70% of your stress. Because we put so much energy into the things that we cannot control. You're not going to know what those things are, though, I don't believe, until you write them down, until you figure out, is it my health? Well, what is it about my health? Nail it. And then say, what is it about my health that I can control? My health practices? Have I opened myself up to the potential of the herbal supplements and nutrition supplements and acupuncture and hypnotherapy and all these other wonderful things that we talk about that are all related to becoming less stressed? But do that. If you're going to look for a list to write this out and get really conscious about who you are, where you're going, and that you have so much more control than you think. And the stuff that you can't control, this is one of the big, for us control freaks, and I'm probably most of us in here are, because you like the program. And the messenger is right there. Although I will tell you this, God yesterday decided to challenge me and to see if I was really digging and really into the stress stuff. So, and he wanted to see how much of a control freak am I still right there on the edge, which I am in a lot of things. So what he did was he called my airlines, he did. He plays these games every once in a while just to keep us in line, and he says, call David and tell him the flight is canceled to Seattle. Yesterday morning, I get a call, your flight has been canceled. Yeah. Whew, time to get big. Time to get really big. So the first thing I did was I screamed. And then I said, okay, if I'm going to get really big here, swear to God, this idea, if I'm going to get really big and get outside of this, what is it I need to do? Okay, I need to call my travel agent and frantically ask her to help me. I need to pray. I need to call Lee and say, oh no! And let him know what's going on and that, we're trying to get on another flight. So then we got on another flight. I got on another flight, but the flight from my town to Atlanta was sold out, so I was on standby. But once I got to Atlanta, if I get to Atlanta, I get to Seattle. And if I don't, then you're coming into the city on the day you're speaking, and getting in here like at 5 o'clock to speak at 7:30. So it was an excellent little opportunity for me to say, okay, a lot of this is out of my control. If I get really big, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go work out. I've got 4 hours, So I had to really try to let it go. And I don't do this all the time, but it was letting go of control. It was this stuff. There's not a thing I can do but pray and work out. I could eat. I ate. But that's it. I mean, your options are pretty limited, And then I went to the airport, and here's the coolest thing, is the whole trip out here, going on standby from my city to Atlanta, I just really chilled. I just stood there. I mean, I'm sure that people around me didn't think that this was chilling. But for me it was. I looked at them and they were staring at me. I go, hey, I'm getting really big. This isn't what I normally do. Normally I'd be running right now in a circle. But seriously, so we can practice. But if we're not conscious, and if we're a victim of this whole existence that we're in, and we're not slowing down and trying to get big, and trying to realize that this is stressful right now, but it's either going to turn into a non-event or it's going to be stressful. If we don't take these steps and become very conscious, then we're going to continue to follow the old patterns of dealing with stress, which are pretty darn ineffective for most of us. Next. Where's the next one?
Stress-free equals set boundaries.
Oh. Wow. Time to get big again. How many of us are really good at setting boundaries in our life? There was someone that raised their hand halfway up. So she's on her way, and the rest of us are really struggling. Setting boundaries is taking care of ourselves. Setting boundaries is going against what we were taught from the beginning, from when we were born, and brought all through grade school and into high school and in our home and everywhere else, that it's almost imperative to be liked by everyone. Boy, we will lead the most stressed existence if we don't set a boundary on this first big one. It is imperative that we are really liked by everyone, because if we really need to be liked by everyone, we're in for a life full of stress. Because we'll bend like a willow and give to anyone no matter what the cost is to ourselves. Yeah, and I'm right there with you. And Lee made a comment about saying no. Yeah, it's the truth. It's real hard to say no. It's really hard to set boundaries. But this is, again, where we make a choice. If I'm going to lead a less stressed life, I need to become, right here in the present moment, extremely conscious and say, wait a minute, this boundary is getting stretched. Do you remember the girl that... I know you do. Because you were all there that hour. The girl that called in, but this was a great call. The girl that called in, who was 17 years old and had been sexually active with her boyfriend for a year, and now felt uncomfortable, didn't like it. And she didn't know what to do. And we jumped right into it, and we said, this is great. She's sure she didn't think this was great. I'm all excited. Yes, honey. Now we get to set boundaries. This is great. I said, if you can do this now, you're going to coast through life. Well, it'll be a little easier anyway. I don't know if you'll coast through it. But like for her to say, Jimmy, we've been together for a year and a half, and we've been intimate for the last year, and now it doesn't feel right in my stomach, and I have to stop. So I said to her, what's the worst thing that could happen? He won't like me anymore. This goes back to, we think we have to be liked, admired, accepted by everyone. And that is a tough road to hoe, man. That's called perfection. That's called no room for human error. You know, we want to be, yeah, it'd be nice if that happened. It'd be nice, but if we're going to put ourselves up and still hold on to that, and these are beliefs that have been indoctrinated since we were tiny little people, really hard to break, but at the same time, maybe one of the most important things you can do to de-stress, to take control of your life, you know? And I know that she made the right decision. I am positive that she did, and I also am positive that by her doing this, that she is going to set herself up to be a really strong woman. You know? Really powerful. So when you think about, you know, whatever you're being asked to do, and you've agreed upon in the past to do this, it doesn't mean you have to continue doing that. If it means, you know, going on to a family reunion or working for a charity or doing something with your kids after school, if you're at a place where that it's breaking you, it's okay to set a boundary and to go, you know, I've given my time here before. I can't do it right now. But thank you for asking. We can add humor to this. This is okay. I appreciate the fact that I am the most important person with this committee. And I hope you appreciate the fact that as the most important person, I need to take care of myself. And I can't do it by doing this one more time. Whatever it is. Being pressured into sex, it doesn't matter if you're 17 or whatever. You know, and how do we know when we're crossing boundaries, when we're not setting them? How do we know when they're being crossed? I'm sorry? It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Really simple. And this is one of the most beautiful things that I think God ever gave us, was this incredible intuition that if we can get in touch with, intuitively we'll always make the right decision. I was talking to a friend of mine at home whose best friend's boyfriend has been giving her unwanted signs. Now, you know, if you've ever been in that situation on either end of it, that's not a cool place to be. You know, you're getting unwanted advances. And so I said, just out of curiosity, what's he doing? And she said, nothing. But I feel it. She said, I can't say to you that he came up to me and said, I want to go to bed with you, or that I want to take you out. But it's the look. It's walking by closely to me in between her and, you know what I'm saying? She felt it. She's feeling violated. She's feeling that her friendship with her best friend is being violated by this, and it could happen with a woman. I don't want to beat up on guys here. And we're going to get into some stuff later about relationships that I think you're going to, well, some of us will have to get really big with. But that's why you came. Even if we didn't know it. But she felt it. So if you feel it, it's valid. You don't have to explain it away. And this is the other thing we think. If we feel something and we don't have something on paper, or we don't have an action, or we don't, and we feel we have to explain it then. Well, I feel uncomfortable, so I can't go out with you. Well, why? You don't have to have an explanation why. I feel uncomfortable is fine. I'm exhausted is fine. I'm exhausted. I can't do this weekend. I can't go here. I can't. That is all you need to do. And when we start to set those boundaries, little by little, do it where it's really safe at first, and then start reaching out into the world. But boy, we can decrease a ton of stress. Next. Do we have another one? Sure. All right.
Stress-free. Our external world usually reflects me, internal beliefs.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's my handwriting, man.
Yeah. Then it says stress plus money, health, attitude, intimacy,
right,
prosperity, or lack.
Thank you. Yeah. Our external world, what is going on outside of ourselves, is usually simply a reflection of our internal beliefs. If we struggle with money, it's probably what's going on in here about our beliefs about money, more so than lack of talent and the economy and anything else. If we're struggling, and I'll explain in a minute, if we're struggling with relationships, it's probably our beliefs about relationships more so than what's going on outside of ourselves. So if we're getting in arguments, choosing the wrong people, la-di-da-di-da, it's probably a lot about our beliefs. If our health is poor and we're making poor choices about what we do, what we eat, la-di-da-di-da, It's probably about our internal beliefs about ourselves that's really creating this chaos on the outside. So if your external world in any of these arenas is really disruptive, it probably has to do with the beliefs you have inside. I'll give you an example. If you're struggling with money and you have enough to make ends meet or you don't, or if you do have enough, then the minute you start to get ahead, you get slammed with something. More often than not, it's a belief system that you've created or you've brought with you since a little kid or whatever it might be, saying that it's always going to be hard to have money, that it's tough to earn money, that only wealthy people can save money. We have all these beliefs. It doesn't not necessarily have anything to do with your talent, with your ability to earn money, to save money, to invest. It has nothing to do with that in my mind. It has to do with what are you saying to yourself? You know, if we grew up and if we heard over and over and over again that it's not cool to have a lot of money, you know, God doesn't want to have you a lot of money, rich people are evil, whatever the stuff is. Have you ever heard any of that stuff? Yeah, well, not with your families growing up, but you know, schools, it can come from anywhere. These messages can come from anywhere. So if you are struggling externally, start to look at your belief systems. What am I saying to myself? What about relationships? If you have a hard time in relationships, and then you go, well, hey, relationships are really tough. Let's face it. Relationships aren't easy. They're always a struggle. You've always got to give in. You're always giving more than you're getting. You know, these are beliefs that we bring with us from wherever. It doesn't matter where. I don't care where they came from. I'm not here to point fingers at anyone. School systems, families, I don't care about where they came from. But what's important is to figure out, get big again. And to go, if I'm struggling with money, if I'm struggling with my relationship, what beliefs do I have about money? What beliefs do I have? Prosperity Consciousness by Frederick Lehrman, who happens to live in Seattle, as a matter of fact, is an excellent audio program, Prosperity Consciousness. Fantastic, about our belief systems and money. If you feel you are not worthy of money, if you think that having money always means really hard work, you are always going to work really hard, and you'll probably never have much money. And even if you get a lot of money, you're probably going to lose it. What is it? Gallup poll did with the lottery winners? 60% of people that won a lottery of over X millions of dollars within 5 years were bankrupt or broke or back at their old jobs. Yeah. And to me, it was about, I am not worthy of prosperity. That's what I'm reading into this thing. If that many people, I'm reading a lot of people don't feel they are worthy. And if you walk out of here, and if you can look in the mirror just for a tenth of a second and say to yourself, you are worthy of all the love, of all the money, of all the health that you could possibly stand. I don't think we have a God who's up there wanting us to have nothing. I don't think he would have created the magnificent people that we are and said, and you know what, I'm going to pick out a bunch of these people and just make them not worthy. Right, that's right. I don't think he's there. I don't think he's doing that, you know. Okay, let's see, today, Michael, every 20th baby that's going down Earth, unworthy. Unworthy. No arguments today. Every 20th child that hits the planet, I want them unworthy. Oh, I don't care. You can make a few of them unworthy financially, make a few of them unworthy relationship. Oh, just mix it up. Have some fun. You angels know what to do with this one. No, it's not like that at all. You know, he's created us to be extremely loving and worthy. And this is something I'm learning still every day. You know, to be worthy of anything that you desire that is for your best interest and for the world's best interest. Really powerful. And when you and I decide to look in that mirror and to just start to believe it for that tenth of a second, and then that full second, and then the 2 seconds, just start to believe it. I'm not asking you to turn over your old beliefs right away and give up your security blankets that I am not worthy. I'm just asking you to start, because I don't think there's anyone in this room that isn't worthy of everything that you want. But I couldn't give it to you. If I could, I would. But I can't, because if I gave it to you, and if you weren't ready for it, then you'd give it back or give it away, or you wouldn't have it very long. So we can de-stress by starting to slow down and to really look in that mirror, and I mean physically look in that mirror, and see how long you can stand it. Understanding that you are so worthy of this. You're reaching out and you're hugging yourself, embracing yourself. You don't have to change a thing from what you have right now, other than to open your mind. What do you think? This sounds good. Yeah. And now, more than sounds good, though, you have to decide if you want to start to take that step. That's it. All it is a decision. It's just a decision. And you slowly build up until you're there. And then one day you're going to look in that mirror and you're not going to be able to walk away. You simply will not move. Gosh, you are worthy. Okay, do we have any more?
Can I just add that should
Yes.
be at the expense of other people?
Oh, no.
Because a lot of people achieve these sort of things. And other
Not at all. No, we're talking about strictly within. We're not talking about affecting anyone. And if it's for your highest good, if it is, it's for everyone else's too. If we have really strong self-esteem, if you walk around feeling really good about, and we're going to talk more about this in a minute, and I'm glad you brought that up, but if you walk around feeling really awesome about who you are, and you're centered in yourself, really centered, about that you are worthy of love and intimacy and prosperity and health and all these different things, you don't have to take advantage of anyone else because you got it all. You don't have to take advantage of a soul. And what will happen 9 times out of 10, if you get that centered, is you'll start giving so much away, and energy as well as anything else that you have. You'll start giving it away because you'll feel so good about the fact that you got there. If you could only get away from that mirror. Was there any other ones? No? We had it? Okay, here we go. Now, these are really cute. Aren't they? Yeah, and a friend of mine who couldn't make it here, who's just a sweetheart, Kristen, she did research for the book Phoenix Soul on the mythology of the phoenix, which I write about in the author's note, about how we came up with the title and what it signifies. But anyway, Lee had a hand in this and said, I said, I love to hand out quotes, on things and throw them to the audience, as I do with all my presentations. And last year we used wiffle balls. The year before, if you were in that one, we used Frisbees. So this year, we have these little animals that are actually stress relievers. See, they have a dual purpose in life. Not only do they look cute and make you smile, but you can actually reduce stress. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Wow. Okay. Now, the pressure is totally on me. If, for some reason, this were to not land in your hands, it's because of an errant throw. Okay. All right. Just throw it. It's my fault. That's all I'm saying. If you don't catch it, it's my fault. Okay, here we go. Oh, awesome, awesome. Where's the microphone? Okay. Yes, teamwork. Thank you. Teamwork. Okay, could you pass that down, please? Sure. Oh, God. What? To you? That was adorable. No, that was very cute. Go ahead. Read his stomach. Yeah, there's a quote there. Okay, no, go ahead. Put the mic up to her. Well, I don't care who reads it. Make it a team effort. Oh, wait, it's not on for some reason.
The tension, see, makes me not know what's really going on.
Okay.
No stress here.
Okay. What we submerge only becomes bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Another huge truth. What we submerge only becomes bigger. Whatever we do not talk about is going to be our nemesis. Whatever we don't admit, whatever we don't discuss, to ourselves first and then to the world afterwards, is going to bring us down. It's going to take us down. There is nothing that could take you down quicker than not facing facts that you don't want to admit. A history that you don't want to admit, an addiction that you don't want to admit, food, nicotine, alcohol, drugs, whatever it means. Whatever we submerge only becomes bigger. No matter how tough it is, no matter how hard it is, to face some of the stuff that you and I have inside ourselves, if we don't go there, it's going to get huge. Why do you think that people freak out over toilet seats being left up? You know, it's not because, there's not a lot to... There isn't a lot to do this. You know, this isn't the problem. The seed is not the problem. The person who left it up is not the problem. The problem is something much bigger that's been submerged for a long period of time that these two people are not bringing to the surface. That is what is huge about this statement. What we submerge gets bigger. If we're not dealing with our stuff, it's going to encompass us. It's going to take us over. A Phoenix Soul, my new book, is a result, was never meant to be a book at the beginning. It is my feelings that had been submerged since I was a tyke. I finally got to a point where I couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't handle what was going on in there. And the 3 chapters are broken up into searching, growing, and loving. And searching is tough stuff, and it's the stuff that you all have felt, are feeling, will feel. This is your story. This is so universal, it isn't even funny. And then growing is we start to see like this little clue that maybe there's a way out of here, you know? Maybe I can actually get somewhere. And then loving is this place you go to. This is eustress. This is this good stuff. But it starts with the search. And if we have feelings of inadequacy, if we have communications with people in our life that we're not going there, I don't want to go there because why? Well, because it brings up anger and frustration. And, well, okay, then keep it down. Because that toilet seat is going to turn out to be World War VII. And if it isn't that, it's going to be that someone's family comes, or we have to go to someone's family. There's going to be this huge blow-up. And it isn't the event as it is what we've been submerging. Some great stories. Kenny Loggins, remember he was on the show? I know you do. I had a chance to go and work with him in San Francisco. And Lee and Denise from Another Woman, another woman. Sorry, bro. Oops. Oh, goodness. Well, at least that's not on tape. So friends of mine, let's leave it at that, came to San Francisco to see the event that I hosted for Kenny and Julia Loggins. And there's something that Kenny talked about that I just thought is so wonderfully connected to what we submerge only becomes bigger, is that his relationships in the past, intimate relationships with women in the past, only went to a certain level because he was never able to speak truthfully about his fear of commitment, his fear of monogamy, his fear of stuff, of guy stuff. And when we don't allow, and I'm going to take this from a male's point of view, when a woman doesn't want to hear, and this whole commitment phobic stuff to me is just such a bunch of crap. It is. It's such a belief system that is so old and dated and... Want to know how I really feel? It really is, though, because one of the things that happens, and this happened to Kenny Loggins, and I felt for him so deeply, when you aren't able to talk about something, it gets huge. If you aren't able to be human and to go, wow, this is going to change my lifestyle, can I talk to you about this? No, you're engaged to me. We're not going to talk about that this is stressful or that are you getting cold feet? No. I'm feeling human emotions, and I thought if you would be my partner, I would be able to share deep stuff with you. Well, you can, but not that. Yeah, no, you can go deep with me. I just don't want to hear about the fact that you might be getting nervous. Oh, okay, so now we have a line in the sand that teaches men and women that you can only go to here. So the stuff on this side gets submerged, and it gets deep, and it gets pushed. And we wonder why. What's happening with marriages today happens with marriages today. To me, it's not a secret at all. The more a man can't be a man, the more a woman can't be a woman, and say to her boyfriend or her lover or her husband that this is what I really feel. The more we cannot do that, the more strife we're going to have. And the divorce rate will stay at 50% and all this kind of stuff. What we submerge only gets bigger. Where else is it going to go? It's going to start encompassing us. What we can't talk about is going to get huge. And here's something else that Kenny and Julia have, and Peggy Vaughn, who was on our show a couple weeks ago, who wrote a book, The Monogamy Myth. Very interesting. She went through, her husband had an affair 18 years ago, and they went through this hellacious number of years of trying to figure this out and to work through it and come back together. And both of these people separately came up with a plan that neither of them will have an affair outside of their marriage. There's another Davidism. It's okay if you have an affair inside our marriage, honey, but outside, I'm going to draw the line there. All right, so we will not have an affair with someone else while we're married until we come home and talk about it first. There you go. What do you think about that? Isn't that something? So we come home, we talk about it. Yeah, it might be pretty cool. What do you think? Yeah, I think so. Go for it. Yeah, she was pretty cute. Of course not. You're going to come home and you're going to say, well, what is it that you see attractive in her? Well, maybe it's not what I see attractive in her. Maybe it's not what I'm getting from you. Well, maybe you're not getting from me because I wasn't receiving from you. Well, can we talk about this? Wow, there's a concept. What we submerge only becomes bigger. I dated a girl in the early 80s, and this was really interesting, and I write about something similar to this in the book, where she would say to me, she'd elbow me, we'd be sitting out somewhere, she'd go, oh my God, look over there, and I'd look over, and I didn't know what I'd be looking for, and she'd say, look at that gorgeous woman. I'd say, wow, yeah, hey, get my attention again. Anytime you want. I mean, really, we had this very cool thing where she, and then I got into this little thing that we would do, and I'd say, yeah, that guy is powerful. You could just tell by the way he dresses and walks. And so we started sharing this stuff. And it was really freeing. It didn't have to be any more of this, who are you looking at? I wasn't looking at anyone. Yeah, let that submerge and see where it goes. It's not going anywhere but out. And then it's going to start to grow. And then this is where I'm going to ask you to get big. Can we go to that place where we say to our partner, I want to become so intimate with you that I'm not going to run away from the comments that you make. I'm going to hear them. I'm not going to fix them. I'm not going to judge them. Be honest with me, be truthful with me, and let's see where this goes. A guesstimation, and I could be wrong. In 74 that occurred. I was wrong in 74. But I'm going to guesstimate that if we started going with this tack of bringing things up that we have normally submerged, that we are going to get so darn close to the person that we're with. Because now we're breaking down walls. We're wiping away this line of demarcation in the sand that says you can only go right here. You know, if I want to marry someone, I want to marry someone where I can go over to that place. And I can say, I'm scared, I'm depressed, I'm addicted, I'm fearful, I'm ecstatic. I want to go to that place. I want to go to that place of just brutal intimacy and honesty, where you don't have to hide this stuff that only gets bigger. You know, lies and little white lies that fester, and I'm not going here really, I'm just going there. In the book, John Krakauer, the guy from here, In the Thin Air, thank you. In the Thin Air, he talks about his wife calling him at the base camp because he had never admitted to her, and she was in tears, and she was petrified when she dropped him off at the airport to go to India. She was petrified and in tears that she would never see him again. And the reason being is that she knew he was lying when he said he was only going to go to base camp, he wasn't going to try to climb Everest. But he said, oh no, I'm just going to the base camp because he didn't want to worry her. But she knew he was lying. I'm only going to the base camp. I'm not going to join the climbing expedition. I'm going to just sit down there and wait. Now here's a guy that's addicted to climbing. So I'm going to this is the most incredible opportunity of my life. But honey, I'm just going to, well, she knew that wasn't true, and it did not foster intimacy, did it? How could it? It fosters fear, rifts, you know. And this is huge. This is big, and we have to get monstrously big if we want to accept this universal truth, which I know is one. Without a doubt, I know is one. And then we have to make that decision. Well, then do I really want to be that intimate with this person? Do I really want to go there? And if you don't, that's too bad. Because you're missing out on something that probably few of us ever really, really feel. And that's that ability to just open up and be present. So totally present that you're trusting and loving and intimate all at the same time. Because you're not worried about getting caught looking at that guy or that girl or saying the truth of where we're going or what we're really doing or what we're up to or where the money is going and where I'm investing in it and how much I've lost that I don't want to tell you about. You know? All that stuff now comes to the surface. And what's funny, I don't want to say funny, but I think what's pretty cool about this is that everything that we've talked about up until this point and everything we're going to talk about past are things that we know that we don't want to deal with. And if it makes you uncomfortable, and if you sit here and think, I could never say that to him or her, this is not for me, then it probably is exactly what you need. Exactly what you need. And if you feel really good about it, then you're way ahead of the game, so there. Okay, someone else. Let's see, where were we? This row? Okay, here we go. And then the microphone is right around here. There we go. You're right, exactly. You were her leader, you're her mentor. You didn't know it, but you were a mentor to her.
Okay. Thank you, by the way. I love dogs.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Gratitude, focus our energy on what we have versus what we don't have.
Oh, this is monstrous, too. So often we think about what we do not have, you know, that we do not have this car, this money, this job, this relationship, and so that's where our energies go. And if we want to go and to become more stress-free, we've got to start looking at the opposite. I have a client on the East Coast, a gentleman, who I've been working with now for, I don't know, I guess about 8 months or so. And it's all phone work. If you're familiar with the work I do, it's all via phone. And anyway, he had dated a woman who broke off the relationship, and he was still madly in love with her. And she had said very pointedly, I have no interest in going any further. If you want to date me and go out and be intimate and do it, that's fine. I can do that with you, and I can separate that. But I know now in my heart that I can't go any further. So he made a decision to to get out of the relationship. Then he was drawn back in and then out and in and out. So he called me and he said, you know, what's really frustrating is that she can lay there and be with me intimately wise, and then get up and walk away and say goodbye and kiss me goodbye and be fine with it. And I struggle with it. And I said, well, you have two options. You can, one, stop beating yourself up and listen to what she's saying versus what you want to hear or want to have happen. You know, you can be conscious. There's a thought. We can be conscious, or because we try to be very non-judgmental in this industry, we say, well, the other option, you have another. He goes, yeah, but I have another option. Well, of course you do. You can have all the gratitude in the world for who she is, the energy that you guys share, the laughter you have, the intimacy that you have, and not get hung up on anything more. If you want to just share the space with her, and you love the laughter, and you love her wit, and her intelligence, and the fact that you guys have all this in common, and you get clear on the fact that it's not going anywhere, why don't you focus on what you have instead of what you don't? And you could also cut the intimacy thing out, cut the physical stuff out, and get really clear on the fact that you can go out and be with her and still enjoy her company and focus on what you have versus what you don't have. And we can make examples in every area of our life about how much energy we waste and stress we produce on focusing what we don't have. And, you know, a lot of people call it the victim mentality. I don't care if you want to put a label on it, you can. But it's like when I wake up in the morning, one of the things that I do that I'll share with you that I think has made a huge difference in my life in regards to gratitude is I do a gratitude meditation, and I get very relaxed, and I bring in all these incredible people into my room. You wouldn't see them if you were with me there, but I know they're there. But I bring in all these great spiritual teachers, you know. I bring them all into the room, and then I thank them for everything that happened the day before. I thank them for the conversations. I thank them for the fact that we had this facility, that I had a chance, that I'm going to have a chance to meet all of you people. I mean, I go through this. I thank him for the great fish sandwich I had yesterday. I get right down. I get right down to it. I think, okay, now I'm going to get real personal here. But I have to. If anyone has ever gone through, if you ever had candida, or if you ever had any kind of bowel situation, you know what it's like when you're constipated for a while and how rough that is. All right? And if you haven't had it, you can imagine. I'll let you visualize that one. I won't go into any more detail. But I will be thankful that has passed. Because I've been on the other side of that coin, and I don't want to go back there. And I'm serious. I will be thankful for some of the smallest things, but it's every day. So if I start my day in total thanks for all the greatness that is in my existence, the smallest things to the biggest things, how can I not live in gratitude? How could you not live in gratitude? And you start to then focus on what you have, and you don't even pay attention to what you don't have. It's just not there anymore. Because you are so blessed, and you and I are, to be able to sit here, to be able to come here, we are extremely blessed. And you can eradicate so much of the stress by staying focused there, versus by getting hung up on what it is that I still do now. Okay, the reason I'm coming over this side, actually, I'm going to go in the middle. Because I gave, remember how we started out this side? We had 5 people. Just so you're wondering, geez, this isn't fair. Okay, are you ready? Pressure's on me. Yeah! Oh, no. Yeah, just keep pushing things. Boy, that was a good help. Bet you couldn't have figured that out without me.
Go after all you desire, but let go of the end result.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this is massive. C.J. Moon, who's an intuitive counselor who lives in Seattle. I've got a lot of great... Isn't this great? What I'm talking about is from Seattle. I might as well just move out here. Yeah. Oh. Hey, I've thought about it. I have. Yeah, this is... Get big! Touche! Touche! You mean practice what I'm preaching? Okay, I'll get big. How can I go wrong, huh? This is just so wonderful. Your energy is splendid. Moon, C.J. Moon. 206-522-0621. She is just a wonderful, wonderful intuitive counselor. And so I started working with her because I believe that we all should be working with different people, different healers and people who can teach us. And I started working with her a couple years ago. And one of the first things that she tried to teach me, I could not say has taught me, but she knows she's not going to give up, and I'm getting big. Oh, I've got to practice this stuff too. One of the things that she's really trying to help me with is to let go of the end result. This is something we all can really benefit from, and if again, you want to be a little less stressed, go after everything that your heart desires and let go of having to have it. Go after a phenomenal relationship, but also be big enough to pull yourself back, to not have to sacrifice yourself to get it. Going back to the whole, the universe will allow us to have and encourage us to have everything that is really for our best interest. Never makes a mistake. And we may get wrapped up, as I did when I was working with her, we may get wrapped up of having to have someone. No, it's her. I know it is. No, I am so sure. CJ, listen to me. David, who's the counselor here? Well, I know. Okay. I can't get rid of this hat I'm wearing, but no, I'm positive. Look, enjoy the process because you're going to be learning a ton of lessons here. I don't want to learn any lessons here. I want the prize, you know? I want the job, I want this girl, I want whatever it was, and it happened to be in a relationship. And I said, no, I know this is who I need to be with. I am just so positive David, you've probably got a lot of good lessons to learn here. But from what I see, CJ, let's not talk about it. I don't want to go there. But over time, she enabled me to see that I could really learn from experiences in my business career and in relationships, intimate and non-intimate relationships, that I could go after something and not have to have the end result be what I think it is today. And what happens is a lot of times is we're blessed when it doesn't come out the way we think we wanted it. But in the beginning, we can't see that until we get, and then we understand once we're, that we can go after anything we want, but just don't get wrapped up into that, having to have that end result. And if this doesn't seem like it fits you, understand it's exactly what you and I need. Is to quit trying to focus on having to have something and then being devastated if it doesn't happen. If it doesn't happen, understand that we're probably being blessed in some way or another. And if it's a relationship and you know you have to have this relationship and you know it, and this is the person for you, but that person is walking away as you're walking towards that person. You know, then God might be saving you a lot of stress down the road by allowing this person to continue to walk. So what did I learn out of this? What did I get out of this? Of course there's going to be things you can learn from any experience. Same thing happens with a job. Oh no, that's the only job I ever wanted. Well, if you got it, you might be really sorry. Work for it, do whatever you can to go after that job, but understand that if that didn't happen, it's like White Eagle from the book The Quiet Mind. One of my favorite quotes from all time, and this has to do with letting go of the end result. If things don't happen as you wish they would, understand a better way is being found. Is that beautiful? If things don't happen the way you wish they would, understand a better way is being found, and that is letting go of the end result. It's going, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to be ethical, I'm going to get these degrees, I'm going to work out in the gym, I'm going to do all this different stuff that I want to do to be a better person, and if I don't get it, exactly the prize that I want, understand a better way is being found. The truths that we're talking about tonight all start with making a decision today that you want to be less stressed. Making a decision that I want to be more conscious. Making a decision that I want to feel the feelings that are submerged. Making a decision that I'm going to write about those. I'm going to embrace those feelings that make me uncomfortable. I'm going to journal them. I'm going to do whatever. You know, it's all about staying conscious, getting big, all these words we've been using, but they're really simple. It's up to you to make a decision if you want to live a different life than you have right now. If you're tickled pink and don't feel you have to make any changes, you need to be up here speaking, and I would be in your seat. Because I need to make changes. And the reason I'm speaking about these things and they touch me and move me as much as they do is because I'm in the same place of everyone else, trying to find our way, searching and making a few mistakes and cuts and everything, but understanding that there are some things we can do on a daily basis that can make life a heck of a lot easier. We have to be open to them. We have to be open to them. If you were just to get big on a daily basis, you could probably cut your stress levels by 90%. If you were just to get big and go, okay, wait a minute here. There's something I can learn. I don't want to know about it, so I probably need it. When we're positive we don't want to know about it, then we probably really need it. So number one is get big. You cut your stress by 90%. Number two, if we deal with what we submerge on a regular basis within ourselves and with our intimate people and pull those things out that we're submerging, you could probably also cut your stress by about 90%. Now, I don't know where else you're going to get a guarantee of cutting your stress by 180% than right here tonight. I don't think it's possible. I really want to thank you so much for coming in and joining me, and I am going to be here tonight afterwards. I'm going to race up and get out to the table. If you want to come by and say hi and give me a hug, I would love that. I would love to share one with you too. Tomorrow night from 6 to 8, we're at the Nature Way Nutrition Center store in Northgate Mall. Thank you. In Northgate Mall from 6 to 8. So if you want to come out there, that would be cool. And I said this in the beginning, and I mean this so much, that when I walked into this room, coming down the stairs, and could just feel the vibration, and when you walk through the door, it makes everything more than worthwhile. And thank you again. Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, that's really nice. Oh, that is very sweet. God. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. So can we do it again next week?
Thank you so much for joining us today for this presentation. If I can assist you or your company as a professional speaker or a life, business, and relationship coach, don't hesitate to contact me at our website, www.talkdavid.com. I'm David Essel, wishing you a dynamic day.